So in today's season preview for the Detroit Red Wings, I'm going to be taking a look at their roster, getting some numbers on the team, and also giving a playoff prediction for them as well. And after a 25-year stretch of being in the playoffs, the Detroit Red Wings finally missed in the 16-17 season, and they've been out ever since. And they've been one of the worst teams in the league over the last few years, but because of that, they've gained a lot of great prospects. Let's get some numbers on the team now. Last year, they were 30th in the league on the power play at 11.4%. So yes, their power play was very bad, not much of a threat at all. They're 22nd on the penalty kill at 78.7%. Goals for, they had 125. That was good for 30th in the league, so second last. And their goals against, they were 20th with 168. Now Detroit, they've made a few changes this offseason, but I like how they mostly have left some spots open for young guys to come in. They're young prospects. I think that's really going to bode well for them going forward here. Now let's take a look at their lineup. On the first line, I have Tyler Bertuzzi, Dylan Larkin, and Jacob Vrana. And for me, this is a very good second line. The Detroit Red Wings do lack some high-end talent as of right now. That is going to change with all the youngsters they have coming up. But as it stands right now, like I said, I don't know if Dylan Larkin anyways is a first-line center, a legit elite first-line center. I don't think Detroit has that right now. Tyler Bertuzzi, probably more of a second-line player. Same could be said for Vrana as well. But I think that first line will be adequate enough for the Red Wings. On the second line, I have Robbie Fabry, Michael Rasmussen, and Philip Zadina. I have Michael Rasmussen as second-line center as of right now. I don't know if he will stay there. I hope he does stay there for his sake and the Detroit Red Wings' sake, because that will mean he's developing into the big high-end center iceman that they drafted him to be. I'm pretty sure he was taken 9th overall back in 2017, so when you're taken that high in the first round, you are expected to do something in the NHL. So far, it hasn't really panned out for Rasmussen, but it's still very early. And I think it's good for Rasmussen the last couple of years to spend the majority of it in the AHL, because you don't want to expose young players to the amount of losing that the Detroit Red Wings have done over the last 2 years in particular. Philip Zadina, another guy who hasn't been great so far in his NHL career, but again, it's very early. And this guy was projected to be a big-time goal scorer, a 30 to 40 goal scorer potentially in the NHL. Like I said, so far it hasn't worked out. There's been a lot of talk that he's a bust already. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, he's only been in the league 3 years, well, 2 years really now, 1 full year. His rookie season was a disappointment, but I think he can get better. And he's going to have to be better because he's definitely one of the guys that the Red Wings are relying on to help move their rebuild forward. And just quickly, I want to throw in that I like Robbie Fabry on that line. I think he's a guy who has battled injuries so far throughout his career, but I think when healthy, he's a very useful player. On the third line, I have Vlad Namestnikov, Pius Suter, and Sam Gagner. And I've seen some projections for the Red Wings lineup that Pius Suter will be their second-line center. He might be their second-line center, I'm not sure. But right now I have him at the third line spot. If Fabry's not playing great, maybe Vlad Namestnikov comes up and plays in the top 6. He's very capable of doing that as well, so I could see that as a possibility. Like Detroit taking a chance on Pius Suter. This guy started off really good last year for Chicago, kind of petered out as the season went along. But nonetheless, I think he can be a very good player for the Red Wings. He adds speed, he adds some skill as well. He just needs to be more consistent. Now on the fourth line, I have Adam Ernie, Mitchell Stevens, and Carter Rowney. Carter Rowney on there to start, but that could change. Maybe a guy like Giovanni Smith comes in and takes his spot. Alright, let's switch to defense now. On the first pairing, I have Danny Kaiser and Philip Hronek. On the second pairing, I have Nick Leddy and the youngster Moritz Seider. And on the third pairing, I have Mark Stahl and Troy Stecher. And I'm really excited to see what Moritz Seider can do for Detroit this year. I think more than likely he will make the team out of camp. He's a guy that really should help their power play. You would have to think, I don't know, I don't want to put too much pressure on the youngster. He is only 20 years old. Maybe it's a little early for him to be the guy quarterbacking a power play. But that's how good I think he is, that he could potentially do that this season for Detroit. And in goal, we have Alex Nedeljkovic, Thomas Grice, and I also put Calvin Pickard in there as well. Let's just take a moment here to praise Steve Yzerman to get Alex Nedeljkovic from Carolina for Jonathan Bernier, who didn't even end up signing with the Hurricanes in free agency. What a steal. I mean, I'm not sure what Don Waddell and the Carolina Hurricanes were thinking on that one. But good on Yzerman in Detroit for picking that up and getting Nedeljkovic and paying him what he's worth, something that Carolina just didn't really seem to want to do, obviously. Nedeljkovic had a stunning .932 save percentage last year. Now, I don't know if he's going to be able to do that on Detroit. I think, no offense to the Red Wings, but I think, Detroit isn't quite where Carolina is yet anyways. Maybe in another couple years or so they will be. But I think Nedeljkovic will still put up some solid numbers. If he can even put up, a 9.15 or a 9.10 to a 9.15 or 20 even, that'll be very good for them as well. And Thomas Grice is a free agent after this year. He's 35 years old, so I don't know if the Red Wings are going to re-sign him or not. They do have some good young goaltending prospects in the system to replace him if he does not re-sign. He put up a .912 save percentage last year. I think he can be even better than that, but we'll have to see. Now, before I name off the extras at forward, I just want to talk about one of their top prospects for a minute. Lucas Raymond, I don't know if he's going to make the team out of camp. He was picked 4th overall in the 2020 draft, as we all know. For Raymond, I think he's going to be a great player, eventually going to be a top-line winger for Detroit, no doubt about it, but I don't know if the time has come for him to do that this season. And he can be a legit first-line player for the Detroit Red Wings, something that I mentioned when I talked about their first line that I think they kind of lack right now, but he can definitely be that guy for them going forward, whether it be this year or next year. At forward now, I have Giovanni Smith, Joe Veleno, Taro Hirose, and Jonathan Bergeron. Yes, Bergeron's name is a little bit hard for me to say, but I think he's going to be a very good player. He might even make the team this year full-time. Who knows? We'll have to see. Extras on defense, I have Gustav Lindstrom, Jordan Osterley, Brian Lashoff, and Seth Barton. Now for a playoff prediction for the Detroit Red Wings. No, I do not think the Red Wings will make the playoffs this year, but you know what? What's considered a successful season for Detroit? I think a successful season for them is their young guys play well, they're developing at the highest level, they're putting up points at the highest level, and they're not an easy out like they've been maybe the last couple of years. I thought last year they were a lot more competitive than the 1920 season, that's for sure. But I think Detroit will just only keep on getting better. They won't be a playoff team this year, but they're going to be better than last year. They might still be a bottom 5 team this year. I don't know. They are very young and unproven, so it is kind of hard for me to say. But like I said, if they're a bottom 5 team this year and they're competitive at least, they're not getting blown out all the time, and their youngsters are playing well, and they get another high draft pick out of it, it's not the worst thing in the world. I could see Detroit finishing 7th in the Atlantic Division. I don't think they're ahead of Ottawa or Montreal, but they're definitely ahead of the Buffalo Sabres right now. So there it is, a season preview for the Detroit Red Wings. Please let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Also, please like and subscribe and share this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.